What is the most romantic thing someone said or did to you? Elle had recently started a new job. There was also a very nice man who started shortly after. I loved the way he dressed and loved his shoes. One day, he came into the office with 2 large white buckets filled with the most beautiful and aromatic roses. When asked where he had gotten them, he smiled and said, "Oh, I grow these in my garden." He walked around the office and let all the females in the office pick 2 to 4 roses from the dozens he had brought. I said to myself quietly, "Wow, I wish I had a husband who grew roses for me." A few months went by and I learned he was recently divorced and we had quite a few things in common. We went to movies, had lunch, but nothing romantic. He was genuinely a very nice guy. When I left town on business, I knew I could count on him to take care of things in the office with my customers or even check on my condo if need be. One day, I received news that a growth under my arm would have to be removed. He immediately offered to help out in whatever way he could. This would be a one-day PR0 procedure, but I did need someone to drop me off and pick me up. Of course, he volunteered. The procedure went fine, but I had a terrible reaction to the anesthesia. I was so groggy and nauseated, the surgeon decided to admit me. When I began to come to, the first thing I saw was him sitting on the side of the bed, holding my hand. I tried to talk to him. I was urgently trying to get the thickness out of my tongue and trying to get the words out, "I am going to be sick." As he bent over to try and listen to me, I barfed all over his Armani suit. I was conscious enough to be horrified. But, he just smiled and said, "Well, let's get you cleaned up," which he promptly did. I fell asleep, but when I came to again, the attending nurse had this advice for me. "Honey, if that isn't your husband, he ought to be. He has been by your side, cleaned you up and made sure we were taking care of you. Trust me," she continued, "very few men would do that, married or not. Yes, it is 29 years later and he is a keeper."